As we return from the weekend, tensions are high once again on the Korean Peninsula. I'm Carl Azus, and that's what's first up this Monday, April 25th. North Korea fired a ballistic missile from a submarine on Saturday. It's the latest in a series of missile and nuclear tests that the secretive communist nation has conducted this year. Ballistic missiles fly in an arc toward their targets. U.S. officials say this one appears to have flown into the sea. But firing a missile from a submarine is significant because other countries can't see exactly where the launch points are. South Korea called the launch a threat. U.S. officials say it broke international law. France called for more global penalties on North Korea. So why is it pushing forward with its military programs?
North Korea is claiming an eye-opening success with its ballistic missile launch from a submarine this weekend. Photos published on state-run media show the launch with Kim Jong-un. They say it was ordered and guided by the leader and has significantly bolstered the Navy's capabilities. Now, experts around the world will be poring over these photos to see what kind of information they can glean from them. Photos published last year by the North showing this type of launch were widely assumed to have been doctored. South Korea's foreign ministry has condemned the launch, saying that they had warned if the North continued with these so-called provocations, they would go back to the United Nations Security Council and push for even stronger sanctions. The US has also condemned the launch, one official, though, saying it was provocative but did not cause a threat to the US. However, one other US official did say, quote, "It shows North Korea's sub-launch capability has gone from a joke to something very serious."
Up next, a growing threat to the global banana industry. It's called Panama disease or Fusarium wilt. It's caused by a fungus that can stay in soil for decades, and it specifically affects the Cavendish banana. That's the kind most of us are used to eating. The United Nations says Panama disease is one of the world's most destructive banana diseases. The Cavendish used to be resistant to it, but a new strain of the disease has already destroyed the banana industry in parts of Asia, and it's spread to Australia, Africa, and the Middle East. A plant pathologist says it's most threatening to growers and families in the developing world who depend on the banana industry. Panama disease hasn't hit Latin America yet. That's the region that produces most of the bananas for North America and Europe. But if it does, the available types and prices of bananas could change in the years ahead. Aftershocks continue to rattle Ecuador more than a week after a major 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck the South American country. Officials say it killed more than 650 people and that more than 26,000 others are living in shelters. Highways are damaged. Communications are down. Ecuador's president says the government will sell some of its assets and raise taxes to help pay the costs of recovery. To show you some challenges of that, we're taking you to where people are struggling just to get relief supplies.
These volunteers are dedicating their time sorting thousands of pounds of donated clothing. A lot of them are students, they're part of church youth groups. Some are also unemployed, figuring this was the best way to spend their time. There's a very real fear of looting and people coming to donation centers like this one and taking advantage and stealing goods that are meant for people who are in dire need of help right now. So we left the relief center about 4 hours ago. This is a trip we made 2 days ago, and it took 5 hours to get to the Manabí province, where a lot of these small rural towns that were badly hit by the earthquake are.
Hundreds have spent hours in line outside this police station in Tarqui, waiting for trucks carrying relief packages since well before dawn. As the sun begins to set, they've watched the trucks come and go. Though they plead for food and water, many are still empty-handed. How many trucks have passed by since 6 a.m. and we're still with nothing?
Military officials here are asking people to remain calm because there's an air of desperation here. A lot of people rushed to this truck when it first stopped here, handing out water, offering perhaps their first relief in several days. Señora, ¿cuánto tiempo ha estado esperando por agua? This woman says she's been waiting 2 days for water simply because there isn't any potable water around her to drink.
This woman says she's been pushed around by people cutting the line all day. She calls the relief effort disorganized and says her complaints have fallen on deaf ears. Down the street, others are looking through every piece of debris. Several families lived in this multi-story building. Neighbors tell us 5 people were killed when it collapsed, including a young child.
Here we see these performers occupying the children's minds, bringing smiles to their faces as they watch the world around them seemingly fall apart. There's a moment where they can just be kids and enjoy themselves. I asked a woman earlier what she was telling her own children in these very difficult moments. She said she had no words for her child. She didn't know what to tell him.
With aid reaching only a fraction of those in need, the people of Ecuador will face many challenges ahead, trying to move forward while living in the shadow of a catastrophe.
Around the world without a drop of gasoline. That's the goal of the experimental plane Solar Impulse 2. It runs on solar power. It landed in California on Saturday night after taking off from Hawaii on Thursday. Though it's got the wingspan of a 747, it only weighs as much as an SUV. But it also travels at about the same speed as a car, which is why it took so long to make California from Oahu. The project, whose cost is estimated at more than $100 million, has had its setbacks. It took off last spring and was supposed to have circumnavigated the globe by last summer, but a damaging storm, battery problems, and the need for near-perfect flying conditions have repeatedly delayed the journey. Engineers are happy to have the project back up and running. A little over 20 years ago, in a grocery store parking lot in North Carolina, an insurance worker named Harry Swimmer met a girl with the condition cerebral palsy. She was also deaf and unable to speak. And Swimmer had the idea that she might enjoy a pony ride at his farm. Her positive reaction to the experience inspired Swimmer to become a certified instructor in therapeutic riding, and he's today's character study.
Every community has children with disabilities. A lot of these children have very little to look forward to.
Hi, pal. How's my boy?
Our farm is a sanctuary for children with special needs. All right, riders up. What do you say now?
Walk on.
That's my girl.
Out here, they're part of a team. They ride together. They bonded with their horses. It is therapy for them.
I'm getting stronger and stronger.
You are getting stronger and stronger. These children come to me every day,
Harry, you're the best.
and I love every one of them. This is their farm as much as it is mine.
You ready?
The fact that we're able to do this free of charge is a big deal. It's really expanded her community. There you go. We can put her on the horse and she can be all over the place. And within a few minutes, you can watch her body settle down.
Oh, look at that smile.
And she's suddenly the biggest thing in her environment. That's a great confidence booster.
Yeah, I'm wild about you, kid.
I've been extremely lucky to be able to have this program at 86 years old. This has become my life. I don't ever want to do anything else.
Of more than 1,300 requests we received on Friday's roll call page, we're announcing 3, starting in Ruidoso, New Mexico. Ruidoso High School is there, and so are the Warriors, and that is awesome. Moving northwest to Leavenworth, Washington, we've got the mighty Kodiaks watching today. Cascade High School is on the roll. And in northwest Turkey, we come to the city of Bursa, where we're glad to be part of your day at Ishiklar Air Force High School. Running a marathon is tough no matter where you do it. For instance, take the International Space Station. That's where British astronaut Tim Peake is right now, though this is video of him training on Earth. He was getting ready to run this weekend's London Marathon, 26.2 miles harnessed to a treadmill in orbit while watching a virtual reality video of the actual race course. Peake finished in 3 hours, 35 minutes, and 21 seconds. Of course, you could say he was stationary. He could say he ran around the world twice. An American astronaut did this for the Boston Marathon in 2007, so maybe they'll start calling the orbiter the International Race Station. It gives people an incredible runner's high. I'm Carlos Zeus. That's our show. See you tomorrow.